Alrighty, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Lore Pod Podcast. I'm your host, Dakota Morgan, coming to you from Phoenix, Arizona. Now, today, though, we're going to be doing a bonus episode. That's right here. Hopefully, you guys don't hear too much of the dogs. I'm having them pet sit here. Yes, it's a real pain in the ass. But besides the point here, hopefully the background music's going to edit that shit out. Alright, moving on in the behind the scenes of my damn life. This is a bonus episode for the Nuka recap. That's right here, we're doing Nuka recap. Every week we're going to do a bonus episode of the Lore Pod Podcast, where I, your host, Dakota Morgan, go over episode by episode of Fallout Season 2 as it releases, and I go over the Easter eggs, the lore, and everything else that you might have actually missed during this episode. Alrighty, so that being said here, let's dive into the notes, and my fucking god, episode 2 of Season 2 had me just yelling. I think every episode really either has me going, or oh shit, or fuck me, or something, right? Like there's just something, I'm jumping out of my chair like, no, or get up, or something like that. Alrighty, we're gonna go through the whole episode here. Oh shit, I had a lot of notes. This is gonna be an episode for you guys. Alrighty. First off, though, in the lore things, you might have blinked and you might have missed them, though, because they're actually a pretty good scene. We actually got to see the NCR Shady Sands, and we haven't really seen too much of it. I think we got glimpses in Fallout 1 and 2, but a fully operational New California Republic NCR. The episode opens up, and we're able to actually see this. And what do we see, though? We see video game accurate to New Vegas NCR troopers in their NCR, like, different versions of the armor, too, there. That with, like, the camo scarf on there, different types of the armor thing, the trooper helmets with the goggles, with the wearing the goggles and shit. Like, you saw them patrolling, and you also saw a veteran ranger that we've covered here on the channel. Well, also on the podcast, depending if you're watching this on YouTube or on the podcast. Dakota Morgan on YouTube, if you are just listening on the podcast. So that was also neat. Now, of course, though, the biggest thing that hit the internet by storm was the fact is, we have the quote that I actually have on a poster here from a local artist here in Arizona. It's on a, it's like a outline drawing, and it's like a blue background and white kind of chalk drawing of a female NCR trooper with like her scarf above her face. And it says in the military style lettering, "Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter." Now that quote we heard so many times in New Vegas, and it was a meme, like, or like, you know, it was a meme they always said and shit like that. Take a sip of my whiskey real fast. But we actually, you know, someone actually did say it, but that leaves us to say here, though, too, that's a deep cut from the game. But that guy also having a bomb in his neck and delivering a payload bomb to Shady Sands, they found out how Shady Sands was nuked, which we were kind of curious on how the fuck he did it. But Hank, Overseer, Lucy's dad, had a mind control device on a dude who was all fucked up, and he looked just like a caravaner. He had a two-headed Brahmin on him. Like, it's totally legit, right? But the nuclear payload, and I saw some fans, I'm like, why does it look familiar? The type of bomb that they use is the same one that Liberty Prime uses. That's why it was a mini nuke, basically, and it did the damage to Shady Sands, but nothing too big further there. That's because that nuke was a type of one that Liberty Prime takes off his back and throws at shit from Fallout 3 and 4. Yeah, that type of bomb. And of course, Maximus's backstory, and we know his parents were great people, they were engineers and shit like that too, and wanted to do good, and the intro scene that made me fucking cry. Now, with that being said, though, too, that's what that quote from the Mojave and shit like that, and we do know that Mr. House is currently, this is now not lore, this is speculation, that we do know Mr. House is in charge of everything and shit, judging from where the dude came from what he said there as well, too. Maybe it's a distant, nice little Easter egg for the fans of the video game, who all the NPCs would say that shit in the NCR. Or maybe it's to say Mr. House had a big hand in nuking Shady Sands. Who's to say? And maybe Shady Sands got nuked because whatever happened after New Vegas and the timeline of Fallout 4, and then right before the TV show and shit like that, whatever happened in New Vegas we know was big. Like, changing the layout of New Vegas big. Maybe that was during that time. Speculation, of course. I do like this little detail here, though, is we see the vertibird details of, we didn't get to see it too much in Fallout Season 1, but it was spot on exactly to Fallout 4 of the vertibird folding its wings. The hook thing comes down onto the airship gets it and pulls it up in there. Gets it on, and you jump out of the fucking thing and get on a walkway, which seems extremely dangerous. I don't know how the old people do it, but besides that, yeah, we did see a little bit of that in the Brotherhood of Steel. I thought that was really cool. And we did see them doing the old school thing, by the way, of gathering tech. Something we didn't really see them do too much before. It was in Season 1 with this faction of the Brotherhood of Steel, which, of course, is going to be another thing we're going to cover in just a second. But them gathering tech and actually, like, not knowing what the fuck it is and, like, whatever the guys told us to come here and get it. And they're like, this is a small thing there. And they were going through a bunch of ghouls in an abandoned facility gathering some random fucking machinery. And the nice funny part was like they had some like clothing on there too, and it's every player that's like, oh look, clothing, cool, looks like shit. Do not want it. Give me this piece of technology. And then he did it for the BOS. That was neat to see them actually doing that. And them guys, even the same, were like, what? Now do you got to point out a costume thing here, though, being an old costumes designer in the film industry is, hey, among many other jobs in the film industry, acting, Fallout, hit me up. I'm open. Or anybody, hit me up. I'm still open in acting. The elders' robes were actually a lot more tight-knit, a lot more, like, professional almost. And they weren't just like robes of a monk. They were actually like robes. Like, you need an uniform. Of course, so we do get the, we are going to cover Area 51, don't you dare worry. But we do get the factions of the Brotherhood of Steel, though. And I think it's pretty fucking cool because we do get told that there's a Yosemite, Colorado, Coronado, I believe they said there, and then Grand Canyon. And each one has a different type of uniform, a different type of style, but we can tell that they are the different factions of the Brotherhood. And it makes me I was really hoping we would have got like the Fallout Chicago, or the Brotherhood of Steel Chicago branch from the Brotherhood of Steel Fallout video game that no one ever fucking talks about. That would have been the chance to do it, unless I missed it, but maybe, I don't know, maybe they said Chicago. I don't remember that at all. That would have been the time. But we do see, though, that one of them actually, they all have different Brotherhood of Steel uniforms, like different types, right? Well, those are actually different styles that you see of the Brotherhood of Steel. Like, one had this like weird harness necklace with a little almost like mini monitor thing poking up as well from it. Like, that's Fallout 3, right? And the other ones are the old school Fallout 1 and 2. Like, those designs and those uniforms were paying respect to the different eras of Brotherhood of Steel that we see throughout the video games. I thought that was fucking cool. Now, with Area 51, though, before we get into that, we're going to finish up the faction scene here. So the factions we did see, and Commonwealth is the biggie, right? They're the big bad of the Brotherhood, basically leading everyone in charge. Elder Maximus, by the way, the big-ass elder guy who was, like, all against the synthetic, like, sins and ghouls and abominations and shit like that, he's kind of like the versions that we see. He's a little like what we have in current Brotherhood of Steel shit. That being said, though, I'm really curious to see what you all think. Reach out to me on social media, or comment down below wherever you're listening to this. Social media in the description box down below. Do you think we're going to see him? The Commonwealth are like the big people in charge, and they're all afraid to like rise up against them and do their shit. But these Brotherhood of Steel, like, they're trying, like, Maximus is trying to get them legitimized, be what they should be and shit like that as well. The Elder a little bit, but the Elder seems to be like playing the ways to get, like, he's Game of Thronesing this shit, where he's letting things slide because they're all kind of just a bunch of macho people doing their stupid ass fucking shit, right? Is really what we're looking at here. It's not the Brotherhood of Steel that we know, and they're explaining that, and he's using that to try to get them to come to their side and kill the Commonwealth, which Maximus also has Liberty Prime, the giant robot, so that's gonna be a fucking problem. And of course, a guy shows up from the comments saying, oh, there's a mole, and I found out about this shit, so what's going on here? That being said, there too, though, this is all taking place in Area 51, and we do actually see, if you remember in Fallout New Vegas, they did talk about how they had a weather-making machine, and they would blow the fans and the dust and shit like that as well too, but we never saw it. It just kind of happened at the Brotherhood of Steel base, right? And they would use it to cover the base up with sand and like deter people and shit like that too. We saw them use that to uncover Area 51. Deep fucking cuts. Deep cuts with that, everybody. God damn, the writers of the show play the game like crazy too. This is, speaking of which, I probably have like 90 hours at least in New Vegas over the years I've been playing. Minimum 90 hours. It's insane. Area 51, of course, gives us a look at plasma weaponry and laser weaponry, so we're seeing these guys actually start using some laser guns and plasma guns, which I find interesting they find at Area 51, even though that shit is in fucking abundance. But maybe they actually are starting to, but the Brotherhood of Steel never used that before. They did use laser or, regular bullets and shit like that. Most of them, like, that being said, maybe they're going to move on to plasma and other weaponry, stuff like that too, because they're going to have a civil war. And of course, the biggie thing though is we saw a Zeta alien spaceship, and we also saw a Zeta alien. But of course, the cold box, I'd be more over the fucking cold box than alien. And they look spot on to the aliens. Every Fallout has like the aliens that randomly fucking appear. You randomly see them. And Fallout 3 had the Zeta mothership alien DLC that you went up in the ship, dealt with a bunch of crazy ass shit, found out a bunch of Fallout lore, and crashed back down. It's insane. And to see the aliens, I was like, what? They did it. And also, it's interesting now how every branch of the Brotherhood has an airship, and we thought it was just a Commonwealth, but might have been wrong. Norm is, of course, unpacking the the Vault 31 survivors here, and we do get to see them in their corporate stupidity, and Norm actually kind of turned into his dad, so I want to see where that one goes. Affordable Owls was a new location we do see in the New Vegas area. I do want to point that one out, though. I don't remember there, and I looked at, did some research into it, too. Affordable Owls, like, hospital, was not that we see the Ghoul and Lucy walk into, was not a thing. It kept Google kept giving me the thing for, and I don't remember it at all. Unless it was a destroyed building, maybe? I don't know. That being said, though, we do get to see one of the rocket. They kind of held on that shot, too. They actually made one of those rocket toys you can get for everything, like your bases and shit like that, or just pick them up. They actually had a lot of that in there, which is neat in the hospital. And the hospital, of course, it was able to give us rad scorpions. And actually, how deadly and scary. I was like, oh shit, the whole time. We actually got to see the rad scorpions. Of course, we see the one the size of a car that's based on the Emperor Scorpion that did appear. But we also get to see those little ones. And I think non-Fallout players might be like, oh, those are babies. But the other one ate it. And if you look, those ones are more tanner and shit like that too. They're different kind of type. Those are the bark scorpions. The ones you only see in New Vegas game, actually, as well. The Emperor you see throughout all the games, but you do see the bark scorpion only in New Vegas. It was really cool to see that. And also the fucking venom on those things. Like the ghoul trying to eat a dude, and the thing was like full of venom. Oh god. Nice sort of touch, by the way. And those robes of those people they do find. Even the ghoul was like, don't fuck with those people. Like the ghoul knows who the Legion is, which makes sense because those guys had such a fucking... He was around. I mean, he's been around forever, so he was around for the events of New Vegas. I'm gonna take a while, I guess. Ooh, I wonder how that's gonna play out. He's gonna be... Basically, the ghoul is the Fallout New Vegas player veteran who's like carrying the new fan who's just watching the show, aka Lucy, through the show. And I just put that together. That's fucking amazing. I did have a note here for Big Mountain. So we do have Area 51, which we all thought was kind of where we have Area 51 in the show, but also there's Big Mountain. We had the Starlight Theater, which was a little nod towards that and a few other things, but Big Mountain was almost Area 51 times like 1,000 on crack. So we know they're around from season 1 at the end there in the conference scene, but we'll see maybe if they make an appearance. Because if the Brotherhood knows about all that shit, then they should know about Big Mountain. Why didn't they go there? Kind of curious. Now, a little Easter egg thing here, though. If you do notice a grenade that the guys are now, the two douches are using, the two Knights who Maximus, it's like, god damn it, I have so much work. That is a little plasma grenade, by the way. It's pretty neat. Because we didn't see too much of that. I will say, we didn't see too much of laser. We saw Moldova with a laser pistol in the season 1. Never saw you got to use it and shit, though, but now we're actually seeing people use the laser and plasma weapons, which I knew was going to happen. And I say that only because, well, budget. Well, it's going to add a lot of money to the fucking budget to do that. And we had Paladin Harkness there, who is showing up, by the way, from the Commonwealth at the very end. And we don't know who the fuck that is, but also Maxim is doing his shit and murdering a guy. That was insane. And I think his friend there is going to be a little bit pissed. Now, if you think I wasn't going to talk about it, of course I am, you fool. We get Caesar's Legion. That is right. Caesar's Legion is now in live action here into the show here. At the very end, we got to see a little bit of that snippets. My brief thought, though, is when we saw those people back at the hospital with the robes and shit like that, I'm like, that looks like a Legion, like a slave girl from the Legion, but also it could be like children of the Atom sort of thing. And I'm like, I could see him giving us children of the Atom. I don't know for sure, but I'm like, that's going to be a Caesar slave girl. And that guy looks like he's part of like a Legionnaire of some kind. I was like, no fucking way. And he's like, you guys are all like far west. I'm like, ooh, does that mean they're not being held back anymore? Like, what the fuck? Lucy does run into the Jesus, the opposite, Caesar's Legion. And with that being said, we get to see the first look. And even though it's in the dark and whatnot too, and they had torches, like when they popped up, I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no. I was screaming, Lucy, run! Run, girl! I hate Caesar's Legion. I hate them. I mean, they're a fun faction to fucking fight, but they're such bitches. They're such a pain. They're so, like, they crucify people, like, and they have slaves. And the girl was talking about being, like, you know, raped. Like, what the hell? They're a pain in the ass in the game. Some people joined it, like, my favorite faction is Caesar's Legion in New Vegas. I'm like, you're a psychopath. That being said, too, though, their uniforms so far are looking dope. And they put a little teaser for the next episode out there. And Macaulay Culkin, of course, we've seen him in the trailer, aka the kid from Home Alone. He is part of Caesar's Legion, so that's going to be interesting to see that happen. And I wonder what the fuck he's going to be playing. That also being said, Caesar's Legion looked dope. We saw the flags, we saw the pennants, we saw the bull. Their uniforms, all of them, they had different versions of the uniforms too. This was like, I think 4 or 5 ones we see for the military, not including Caesar or the Legionnaires guy. The one with like the metal face with the beard and the horns and shit. He's a bitch to kill. So yeah, Caesar's Legion's there, and boy, they got me jumping up off the couch. I was like, oh no, like this is about to be really bad, really. Oh, next week is gonna be good. That being said, though, that is the lore and a little bit of fun little notes here about episode 2 that I have here on the Nuka recap. If you enjoyed this, be sure to subscribe for new episodes of Lore Pod plus the Nuka recap bonus episodes every week here on the Lore Pod podcast, available wherever you listen to podcasts or you're currently listening now. So be sure to subscribe. And of course, as always, my social media, my Instagram, X, and my Twitch are going to be in the description box down below. Leave a like if you are viewing on the YouTube channel. I've been host Dakota Morgan, and as always, stay creative.